Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Krisell Valenzuela, and I am a multidimensional medium, energy healer, Akashic Records reader. What else? Baby QHHT practitioner. I think the technical term is intern. And I'm a spiritual development mentor, guide, coach. I'm going to give it a few moments to let people pick up on the video in the feed. But today I'm going to be focused on emoji readings. So if you are new, thank you so much for joining. Hi to all of the live watchers and welcome to all of the replay watchers. It is not uncommon for you to watch, even if it's through the replay, and to feel like someone else's reading resonates so strongly with you. That is intentional, because with these group readings, I set the intention that the healing comes through for everyone, that this is group healing. So we're going to get started with a meditation. I like to start with a meditation to ground and clear the energy, just so we can show up and let go of all the other things that we've kind of picked up and absorbed throughout the day. And then we'll go into readings, and I will be ending a little bit earlier than normal today, because I have the first week of my new course, Healing Your Relationship with Wealth. I am offering that today. We start today. So if you're watching this and you're like, what is this class? I want to get in on that class. Join us. Registration closes when class starts tonight, which is at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And if you're curious about the class, what it is we go over the energetics of wealth, because just like we would connect, just like I connect with your energy and read this energy, wealth and money and our beliefs, they have their own energy. And so this class is about working with this energy, understanding it, and learning how to work with it to manifest, basically. Okay. I'm just going to make sure that all of my feeds are working. And actually, I'm doing something new today where instead of doing these readings on my live feed, I'm actually doing these readings in my Facebook group. And the reason why I'm doing this is actually because I had a lot of people trying to hijack my lives when I was doing them on my page feed. And I'm really big on boundaries. I'm really big on boundaries in the way that I'm trying to create a safe container for everyone to experience what a psychic reading is like. Because from my own perspective, prior to developing my own psychic abilities, I was really scared. I had one of my really good friends come to my house and read tarot cards for me. And I knew nothing about tarot cards. So I went into it like really ignorant. I was just open to it. And I trust my friend. And I knew she wouldn't put me in any danger or put me in a situation that I would be in harm. And so I let her read my cards, and then I was talking to someone about this experience, and they told me, they made me feel like I had done something wrong. They basically said something like, oh, when you have your cards read, you open yourself up to the devil. And if you have your cards read, you'll have bad things happen to you. And obviously, if anyone tells you something like that and you don't really understand the concept of like confidence and trusting yourself and sovereignty, it's easy to be be afraid and to like let down your guard and like feel really vulnerable in that situation. And so that's the main reason why I started doing psychic demonstrations, because I wanted to show people that there's nothing to be afraid of. Hey, Claire, thanks so much for joining me. I look forward to chatting with you in about an hour. I'm just going to check into make sure that this is feeding through, because this is actually going through to YouTube and Twitch. And I'm actually really new to Twitch. I don't know what I'm doing there. But yeah. Okay. So I don't want to wait too long. So Claire, this can be like a mini private session on display for everyone, for you. So for anyone that's watching the replay or joins later, this class that I'm doing tonight, which is healing your relationship with wealth, I am going to be teaching how to use tools that are already at your disposal to help you understand your wealth paradigm and then to work with it to create abundance. But another part of it, as me, as your guide, is that I'm going to be connecting with your energy and reading your energy and helping you be clear and transparent with yourself as you go through your belief system and really understanding them. So I see people are starting to pop in, people are joining. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to start with a meditation. So again, this meditation is really to help you get clear, release everything, so that when you set your intention for your reading, that it's just your energy. I'm sorry. So I want to pop this on the screen. So Claire shared an interesting comment. Thank you so much for joining, Lois. Welcome. Someone was upset that Target was carrying witchcraft and moonology books. Devil's work. It's frustrating for me too, because this is what I do, you know? This is my livelihood. And I have to take a step back and just remember that this is a reflection of where they are. Obviously, I can't control where they are, but what I can do is show them love and compassion. I know that sounds very like flower child. Let's all hold hands and kumbaya. But really, I have nothing but for love for them to be able to discover what's holding them back, and discover why they feel so fearful, so that they can let it go and really evolve and grow. So thanks for sharing, Claire. All right, ladies. So go ahead and take a comfortable position if you are in a safe space to do so. And we're going to start with a meditation. So you can close your eyes, and your comfortable position could be sitting down, laying down, standing up. You could sit in a chair. You can sit cross-legged on the floor. The point is that you get comfortable and that you can relax. And you can close your eyes, and we'll start by taking 3 deep, clearing breaths. And you'll want to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Continue to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Last deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. You can allow your breath to return to its normal rhythm. And this act of slowing down and taking a deep breath all serves to help us reconnect with our nervous system, to self-soothe, and to really drop into our body and ground and be present. And as you've returned to your comfortable breathing rhythm, I want you to visualize roots growing from your tailbone, growing from this red light glowing at your tailbone, and watch it as it grows down, intertwining with your legs, wrapping down and going through the floor and into the earth. Watch as these roots grow into the soil and connect with the roots of all of the plants, making you feel connected to this root system of nature, of our plant ancestors. Feel your roots grow thicker, wider, more expansive, and then watch them drop down into the earth, deep into the sediment, down, down, into the ground, and connecting with the earth's core. And as it connects with the earth's core, the core glows with a golden light that sends this energy up into your roots. And this light, this golden light, travels up your roots, up through the different layers of the earth, feeding all of our plant ancestor roots that have connected with your roots, illuminating the land and connecting with your body, and feeding the energy into your body, lighting up each cell as it connects and makes contact into each cell and into each cell until you are just one big glowing being. And as you watch this light light up to the top of your head, you see plant limbs, whether they be branches or more vines or leaves or flowers. You see them sprout out of the top of your head as it welcomes in the white light of the universe, and you drink it up. You feel lighter, you feel clearer, you feel more present with this energy. Take another moment to breathe here. And when you're ready, just think about your intention for your reading today. Whether you want to connect with someone, whether you have a question that you seek guidance on, think of that. Just spend a breath or two with it. And then you can gently wiggle your fingers, gently wiggle your toes, and gently bat your eyelashes open. And when you're ready, you can drop me an emoji of your choice into the comments. And please don't share what your intention is. Let it be answered in your reading. And I'll just drop It says, can't post Oh, that's annoying. Give me 1 second here, guys. I want to make sure everyone has the same benefit of knowing what to expect. And that was my husband. So as you guys are dropping your emojis, let's see here. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right, so if you just joined me, all you have to do is take a deep breath, think about what it is that you're interested in asking or someone that you want to connect with, and then drop me an emoji. See, Lois and Claire drop their emoji. So Shatha, if you're interested in a reading, just go ahead and there. I dropped the instructions on the screen so that you guys can participate. So I let Spirit guide me to who to give a reading to, but because we have a small group, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't be able to get to all of you. The other thing is, the only thing I ask is if you get a reading, just share what kind of resonates with you, what hit for you afterwards. And I ask this because I do this for everyone, for the collective. And so when you share your experience, you help someone come closer to connecting with their own spirituality. And that's what this is all about, guys. I started as someone, I went to my first development workshop, intuition development workshop, as someone who had zero paranormal or supernatural experience. I actually went to learn self-care because I knew that meditation, grounding, and raising your vibration would make you feel fantastic. And I was in a dark place. I was feeling very depressed and not happy about my entire living situation. I was not suicidal, but I knew life could be better. And so that's what I was seeking. So, okay, I was going to start with Lois. And Lois, whenever I rub my hands, it usually means that there's some sort of energy healing to be happening. So just to give you a heads up, when I do energy healing, sometimes I may tone, and I have a really nice mic because my husband is an audio engineer. So if I start toning, it's cool if you take your earbuds out, lower your volume, because toning is not about singing. So let me just close this for a second. So Lois, this is who I'm reading for. So Lois, first thing is feel like Spirit is showing me kind of like the colors in your aura right now. And I feel like your colors are very similar to mine. I'm just going to take this off here for a second. So I feel like your colors are very similar to mine because I see a lot of pink and lavender, but I also see some really dark reds and oranges and yellows. So this red, orange, and yellow, those are colors from our lower chakras. So it feels like you're doing a lot of rooting work. Rooting work has to do with identifying yourself and knowing who you are, understanding who you are, and really exploring that. A lot of people talk about the root chakra as being kind of like safety, fight or flight. And how does that pertain to us is kind of like for you to know what is safe to you and for you to know what your fight or flight is to have self-awareness. So it feels like that's what's happening. Also, whenever I see stuff that has to do with like the lower chakras, it has to do with past experiences. So it's like you're going through filtering. There's a lot of introspection and reflection going on things that have happened in the past. And what that has to do with when I see it in these lower chakras, it always has to do with past experiences, because we're reflecting on the things that have happened to us and how we want to move forward from them. How are we going to allow them to kind of impart wisdom on us, is what it feels like. So it feels like there's a lot I see a lot of red, which I'm getting the red, it's dominant because you're building your foundation. And what I get from it is like, stop. It feels like you're starting to move up into the oranges and the yellows, and orange has to do with sensuality, feeling. How do things make you feel, and how do you find pleasure? Because that's all about joy. And it's very personal, because someone can't tell you what is joyful. You have to know for yourself, and that comes from self-awareness. What I've been talking about a lot lately in my own private circles is this idea that a lot of our beliefs have been conditioned from like a small group of people that have nothing to do with me. They don't know me. I don't have the same background as them. And I mean, as a brown Filipino woman, a bunch of old white people on the other side of the country can't tell me how to measure success and live my life. And so it comes back to your situation, in that you're kind of filtering through your experiences and deciding like, yeah, I want to keep that. No, I don't want to keep that. And this stop that I'm getting from your red is like, don't move up yet. Stay down here in building your self-awareness and getting to know yourself and developing your identity. Because the rest of it hinges on it. Like, everything else is based on it. This yellow has to do with your drive and your motivation. That's your solar plexus. And it's like, I would say like red, and then a little bit orange, and then a little bit of yellow. Like, it's almost like ombre, with red the most dominant. And it's because red is the foundation. Red is the foundation. I always talk about chakras as kind of like a totem pole. And so your root chakra is the base of your totem pole. And if you don't have this strong, supportive base, then everything else, it's easy for it to wobble and fall over. So there's that. Now, I see a unicorn up around by your crown, and unicorns come down whenever you are starting to ascend into 5D. So people think you have to have kind of like this elite experience, or you have to have transcended so much in order to reach 5D. But 5D is, I mean, we're multidimensional beings, and we're traversing the dimensions at all times. Life is not static, or energy is not static. So we're fluid, and we're in the flow. We're like bam, 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 bam. Like, it's an elevator, and where do you want to go? And so 5D is a perspective where you can have unconditional love for everything, where you look at a situation and you don't necessarily get triggered by it, because you know that there is a purpose for it. And so the unconditional love part comes from knowing that, like, gratitude is a form of unconditional love, because even when you experience something that one person might consider negative, you don't feel negative. You feel gratitude for that experience, because you know that you are going to learn something from it, that it is of value. So an example of this is like, oh, I get into a car accident. Like, it could be very easy to curse the other driver, or whoever would be considered at fault. It'd be easy to blame someone. But 5D is the perspective that there's a lesson in this that I needed, and that's why it happened. Like, there's a purpose in this. So I feel like there's some sort of release coming from there. It feels like it's coming from my lungs. And so whenever it has to do with our lungs, it has to do with connection, because our lungs are the organ I feel like my grammar's wrong. the lungs are the organ that help us breathe in air and oxygen. And air and oxygen, that's what connects us to everything, because everything needs oxygen. And this releasing, it feels like tightness, like there's something that we're holding on to. And it feels like it's in the middle of my chest. There's something that you're holding on to that needs to be let go. But this whole perspective of like having gratitude for, oh, here we go again. This whole perspective of having gratitude for every experience, because we know it serves a higher purpose for us. That's what makes it feel like it's the whatever stuck is starting to move up, and like I was burping. You'll notice that if there are people new here, you'll notice that a lot of my readings have a lot to do with the body, and our body is basically one big divination tool, and we're getting information from it. Sorry, I have to pause because I'm getting a tuning in my ear right now. So it's happening in my right ear, and that's feminine side. So it feels like, okay, so Lois, when I see you, it feels like this tuning is happening because it feels like you are a medium as well. And I want to define medium real quick, because there's this misconception that it's a gift, that only select few have it, but it is an ability. So a medium is someone who can identify the energy that's feeding them this information, this divine download. And so the way I see you is that we all have a guide that helps us with our mediumship. And so I see it's like your guide is talking into your ear. And it's a woman, actually. I see like this woman that looks like a school teacher from the 60s with like they're very conservatively dressed. She has like a long skirt and a long sleeve shirt, and it's almost like she has a brooch up here. She's like very proper, but she's like very properly bending over, not like totally, but like leaning into your ear and speaking into your ear. And that's what this reading that I'm getting is that you're a medium. Here's the other thing. You get it clairaudiently, which means that you hear it, which doesn't mean that you always actually hear something. It could be like you hear something in your mind. So you may be reminded of a phrase, or you may hear like hear in your mind or in your imagination someone saying something. You may hear songs, and that kind of reminds you of something else. It triggers your memory to like something else. That's what clairaudience is hearing the message. And people think that you're hearing a third person talk in your ear, like telling you words. But really, that depends on, as an adult that developed these abilities, you have basically trashed your faculties and you filled it with gunk. And so when you start to develop, you have to clear it out. And so when you start, it may happen as like songs, or it may sound like Woodstock from Peanuts. And so when you first start getting it, it's not clear. But the more you practice, the more you work with it, the stronger it gets and the clearer it gets. And then eventually it could sound like someone else's voice, but it usually sounds like your voice. It sounds like you're talking to yourself. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so I actually see a dark black dragon with a red belly, red scales on their belly, and it's coming around to your aura, and it looks like it's kind of feeding your fire. So this red color in your aura at the bottom, it's like feeding that fire, and it's just like making the red bigger. It feels like this dragon is here supporting you. It feels like it's supporting you in this kind of like root work and identity work that you're going through. Your higher self says, yes. Validation, yes. I'm trying to see what else, if there's anything else that you need to know. It feels like, so first I see when I ask, is there anything else that you need to know? Oh, cool. It shows me stars. It's like literally stars. And it reminds me of Cinderella when the fairy godmother like touches her with the wand and like this beautiful waterfall of stars goes down her. I see that going down on you. And what that means for me is actually there's a lot of activation going on. You're going to hear a lot of people out there on the internets talking about how you need to have a guide give you activations. You need someone else to give you attunements. But I will tell you otherwise. The activation and the attunement comes from self-acknowledgement and realizing that yes, you are. Yes, you are enough. Yes, you have it already, and that you are empowered. And I say that because in your field, anything that is meant for you, past, present, future, it's in your field already. It already exists in your field. Everything available to you is already in existence in your field. And so even if you're like, oh, I'm really interested in Reiki, I'm really interested in reading oracle cards or cartomancy in general, it's already in your field. It's already in you. It's about how will you unlock that information. So if you feel like you need to go to a class and learn it, that's because in your belief system, you believe that you need to have someone else teach it to you. But I'll let you know, in my own experience, I've seen so many people that have just learned purely from letting their intuition guide you. I used to look at those people and say, why can't I learn things divinely downloaded? And so I worked with my own belief system to open up myself and release the belief that I need someone else. I need external validation. I need someone else to teach me. So I opened up my own belief system to reprogram myself that I am open to all information in all ways. And I even drilled that down. I forget how I drilled it down because it's been a while, but I drilled it down, and now I find myself learning things in the most interesting and unconventional ways. It's definitely out of the norm. So Lois, thank you so much for letting me work in your energy. They just want me to kind of fortify your field. It's like lacquer. It's like shiny lacquer. It's like this beautiful, shiny, clear lacquer. They want me to seal it with a tone. So this is where you may want to turn down your volume or pull out your earbuds. So Lois, I'm just going to disconnect with your energy. Again, thank you so much for letting me read for you. Okay, so Claire, I'm going to read for Claire and then Shatha next. So if you have just joined, or if you've joined since we've started, all you have to do is think about your intention and then drop me an emoji and let the emoji unravel for you your reading. I find this is a really fun way to do this, and it's really great practice for me. So real quick, people use psychic games to build their psychic faculties, to develop them, because it's like gym, you got to exercise it. And so you could play psychic games, and this whole practice of you setting an intention and then dropping me an emoji, that is my own psychic game. That's basically what I'm doing. All right, so Claire, I'm going to be reading for Claire next. Thank you so much, Claire. So Claire, I know that you're a horse person and know you own horses. And I know I've read for you before. And I think horses came up for you then. So it just feels like the word unbridled comes up. But I see this horse. I see this horse kind of running in an enclosed pasture. And the word unbridled came up. I think unbridled means to like not have the dressings on the horse, like the saddle and whatnot, but it feels like you are enclosing yourself and you need to break out. Like you need to be the wild horse. You need to be the black stallion, black beauty that just needs to return to nature and be free. And it's interesting, when I first saw the horse, I couldn't really tell what color it was, but because I said black beauty, I see this black horse, but now it settles on like this really beautiful brown colored horse that's just, it totally blends in to the nature and the habitat. And it feels like my heart feels very open when I see it in this natural habitat. I did watch Black Beauty around Christmas time, the new version on Disney Plus, and this kind of like canyon, desert, coastal shrub, beach, ocean vibe that it had going on. I am seeing that when I see this wild horse return to its habitat, but it also makes my heart just feel like it's bursting open. So I know I think you live in South Dakota, Claire, and it feels like you need to be in nature. It feels like you need to get unplugged and just be in nature. So two things. I realize we're in COVID and traveling is not necessarily an option. I know you live on a lot of land, and yes, you have a lot of nature on your land, but it's also your home. And part of reconnecting with nature is also taking ourselves out of the mundane. And mundane doesn't have to be boring, but mundane is like the repetitive part. So take yourself out of your current surroundings and go somewhere fresh and new, because the idea is getting new energy, and it feels like you need that. And it feels like, because I just see you, I don't know if you own like a Jeep Wrangler or something, but it's like you own an off-roading vehicle, and that you are out in nature, and that you're just taking a moment to sit with yourself and reconnect and refresh and recharge. And that it feels like you need that to kind of clear the space so that you could allow new fresh energy to come in. It looks like Joshua Tree to me, because in Joshua Tree, it's really dry. There are a lot of huge boulders. There's a mountain range there. But really, like the plant, the fauna is really desert dry. And that's what I see a lot of, like white yucca and I don't see Joshua trees, but I see a lot of that. Yes, the ocean. I love the ocean. But for you, it feels like, and when I see desertscapes, it has to do with reconnecting with our passion, our intuition, and connecting with like the fire, what happens when you get fire and earth and you bring it together. And when you think about it, when you connect fire and earth, that's how you make clay. That's how you get clay and you get ceramics. And so it feels like needing to get those kinds of energies together and flowing. When I see you, and it's like you're calm and you're sitting there, and the word is not somber, but you're just like, it's almost pensive. Almost looks like you're just pondering something, but you're kind of looking down. And so when I see you doing this, number one, it feels like there's a guide on Dad's side that comes and stands with you when you're kind of going through this, because it feels like maybe that's part of like the enclosure I see when I see you as a horse that needs to be set free, is that it feels like you feel boxed in. And maybe you feel boxed in because you've kind of adapted to these ideas of what things need to be. I see. You are fire and earth sign. Cool. But it feels like maybe, you've adapted to these beliefs that other people have kind of created, and you're not finding that they really connect with you. And that's the problem. So number one, great thing that you're joining my class tonight. Number two, a guide on Dad's side is your dad crossed over? Is your dad passed? Because it's an older gentleman who stands to your left, and he has an arm around you. He's kind of tall. Yeah, he's taller than you. That's what I see. But he has he has his hand around you and on your shoulder, and he's there to support you. So it's like he's looking down with you, and he wants you to look up. It's like he wants you to look up and to see the vastness of what opportunities actually lay ahead of you. And just know that if you feel small, that he's here to hold you up, that he's here to support you in this, and that he's going to hold your hand. He's going to be walking right next to you as you do it, and that he is a guide that you can speak with, ask him for help as you go through it. So thank you so much, Claire. I'm just going to disconnect with your energy. So when I disconnect, sometimes what I do is I envision the energy kind of break down to dust and then fly away. And as Dad was flying away, it's like he came back and he was looking at you, and it's like he said, "Don't you forget it." So it feels like there's been some sort of promise that he made to you, and don't you forget it, because even in spirit, he is still here to support you or make good on that promise. So let's see here. Okay, Shatha, if you're still around, drop me a emoji, because I have time for one more, and then I actually need to leave a little early to prepare for my class. So for those of you that just joined, I'm teaching a class on the energetics of wealth. We start tonight in about 15 minutes, and registration is open until the class starts. But it's a 4-week class. It's $50. After this time, it will be $100. But we're going to go through tools that you already have so that you could understand what it takes, what the energetics of wealth are, so that you can work with it to create your wealth. All right, so since Shatha is not answering, yes, Nikki, New York, I would love to give you a reading. So Nikki, New York, we're going to make this quick, okay? And don't mind the noise. So Nikki, first thing I see eyes. It's like I see eyes in the shadow, like there are eyes watching. These eyes, it's almost unclear what color they are, but they appear to be like white. They remind me of like evil cartoon eyes, and they're white. Don't get scared though. Don't be scared. What I feel more is that because it's in the shadow, because it's in the dark, it's a misperception. That's what it feels like. And even there's like this finger reaching out, and it's like a claw. It's like a pointy black finger, like a really scaly finger. And again, it feels like a misperception. When I shine a light on it, what I see is a woman, and it reminds me of the evil stepmother in Snow White. So it feels like what this is about is a mother figure or a woman in your life that you didn't have a great relationship with. And the perception of her is that she's not a good person. And obviously that could be true in her own way. Like maybe she wasn't the best to you, but it feels like there's kind of, because it looks so scary, but then when I shine a light on it, it's just like, oh, it's this woman. We can make people out to be monsters when we're not trying to get the whole perspective, or at least get a fuller perspective. Because it's not your responsibility to know all the details of what's happening, but it is for your benefit to know more than just like a speck of the picture, if that makes sense. I'm just going to take a sip of water. It almost feels like this has to do with a relationship, because as I'm kind of progressing this, the scene that's playing out for me, I see like Prince Charming and Aurora from Sleeping Beauty. So it feels like there's kind of this dynamic of like wanting to be with someone, but then there's like a family member or someone connected to you and the love interest or your partner that is getting in the way, whether it be an issue of them with you and an issue of them with the other person. So, and I'm sorry, because I'm short on time, I'm going to go to the cards because they help me get, excuse me. And actually it feels like there must be something there because you're making me burp, number one. You're making me burp. So it feels like something's already releasing from there. Okay. 7 of Pentacles. So 7 of Pentacles, this is from the Golden Thread Tarot deck. Let me angle it for you so you can see it. So 7 of Pentacles has to do with knowledge and intelligence. Intelligence, I say intelligence, and it feels like that has a lot to do with emotional intelligence in your case. But when we think about the 7 of Pentacles, Pentacles has to do with our material surrounding. And it's kind of like, what are we sowing seeds for? What are we trying to grow? What are we trying to grow to then harvest? Like, this is what we are, if we're sowing these seeds, this is going to be what we're reaping abundance from. I'm a little confused. Okay. But 7 of Pentacles, it does have to do with spirituality, because spirituality has to do with self-discovery or discovery in general, and it goes back to awareness. But this feels like specifically, what are you sowing your seeds for? Like, what mindset do you have that you're trying to sow seeds for? Interesting. I was trying to end this early because I have that class that I'm going to be going into right after, but I feel like I really need to dig into this because I see 2 very different scenes, and this card feels like it tells me something very different. They're saying you're going to know, but you make me curious. So when I see this, this mom figure, she's angry. She's angry, and it's almost like she's throwing tantrums for your attention. And it feels like she does that. It feels like she does that because she's insecure. She does it because she's insecure. But she's insecure about her place in your life. And so she does that, and it's almost like she's interfering with your relationship. It could feel like she's interfering in your relationship because she does it with no abandon. And it feels like it's just all about attention. Like, I wish it could be something more profound or deeper. And perhaps that's because it's based on something that she grew up with. Our beliefs all have an origin in something. And so there you go. Like, if you really want to dig deep into why does she feel so insecure, that's something that you can discuss with her. But I see her and she's just so angry. So I'm just trying to move that along. And you're just like the dog that gets kicked. Like, you know, the people that are upset and they take it out on their pet at the end of the day and they kick their dog. Like, I don't think people really do that anymore, but I had a teacher that used to say that jokingly. Like, he would have a bad day and go home and kick his dog. But the point being is, you are the scapegoat. You are the punching bag, because she's just really angry and she's taking it out on you, and you don't have to take it. Whenever there's a situation like that, you set your terms. You are a sovereign being and you have freedom of choice. You have your free will. And so if this is a relationship that you're kind of rebuilding, you have to call out what you want. So set your boundaries and be very clear. Otherwise, this is just going to keep going on. Take into consideration what your relationship with her has been in the past, because history is repeating itself. And so if you're going to sow the seeds of what you want to create, start now and let that guide you. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Nikki. So that was perfect timing, because I know there's a little bit of a lag on when I actually see your guys' comments. But I just saw from your higher self kind of like the nod that that's the end of the transmission. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. And Nikki, I'm just clearing from your energy real quick. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Join me here every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I had so much fun reading for you guys. So join me again. I do alternate, or I do emoji readings, and then I'm going to be offering some teaching, and then holding open Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, spiritual development, paranormal, supernatural, whatever, come bring your questions and we can talk about it. But otherwise, thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you guys next week.